Hello, first graders. I'm going to read Happy Endings to you. It's a book about suffixes. It's by Robin Pulver and it's illustrated by Lynn Rowe Reed. The school year was winding down. The days seemed endless. Mr. Wright's students were excited about summer vacation. The word endings were excited too. Mr. Wright had written them on the board. Their turn had come at last. Finally, L-Y-I-N-G. After so much standing by and watching and waiting. S. 3 cheers for word endings. E-S, also known as suffixes. E-R. I was about to send out a reminder. Y. We were kind of grumpy and grouchy. L-E-S-S-N-E-S-S. Now we're speechless with happiness. E-S-T. We're the happiest endings in the world. Mr. Wright announced this afternoon we'll be studying word endings or suffixes. Word endings are your friends. They help with tough words in reading. Being helpful makes us joyful. Mr. Wright saved the best for last, us. See, these are all the endings, all the suffixes right here. At that moment, every ending in the room was a happy ending. But the kids were in no mood for studying. Mr. Wright, you must be kidding. He says, I'm not joking. The kids kept fussing. We're already smarter than we were when school started. Why bother learning something new? We'd rather be cleaning out our desks. Suffixes sound suffocating. Here they are. I know you kids are restless, said Mr. Wright. Nevertheless, next year you'll be expected to know word endings. But right now it's time to be lining up for the cafeteria. The kids forgot everything they learned about school rules and good manners. They butted and budged and pushed. Mr. Wright sent the rudest and noisiest kids to the end of the line. Being at the end of the line is what you get for behaving badly. As the kids walked away, Mr. Wright reminded them, after lunch and our read aloud, we'll tackle word endings. Watching and listening, the word endings were stunned. They're going to tackle us? Yikes. What does Mr. Wright mean by tackling us? Why would they do that? We're not the enemy, and we're not playing football. Are we being punished? Is that why we're at the ends of the words? Of course not. We don't behave badly. We don't do anything wrong. Now every ending was a sad ending. If Mr. Wright is serious about teaching the kids to tackle us, we should get in shape for tackling them back. It pays to be prepared. Right, they're bigger than we are. Fitness might help, But doesn't kindness win in the end? I agree with that. This situation is getting hairy. We're splitting. The word ending slipped off the board and headed for the gym to work out. Meanwhile, in the cafeteria, the kids were acting up. They were throwing food, yelling, and goofing off. After lunch, their exasperated teacher announced, "We're skipping read aloud. We're going right into studying word endings." The kids protested, "But it's the last chapter of Ace Scooper, Dog Detective." "You'll have to make up your own ending," said Mr. Wright. "It's time to tackle suffixes." He pointed at the board. Board. Oh, goodness. Then he stared. "Good grief," he said. "This is the craziest year of my teaching life. No summer vacation until the word endings are found. Seriously." "Vacationless. We're doomed," groaned the kids. Suddenly, word endings were terribly important. The kids wanted them back. Where did the endings go? Maybe they were kidnapped. Yeah, like the puppy in Ace Scooper, Dog Detective. We should be detectives and find them. We need clues. The kids got busy making and putting up posters. This poster says, "Want," and there's an end. The bad guy, there's also something missing. Who kidnapped, something's missing. Our word end, there's another thing missing there. AKA, which is otherwise known as suffix, and there's something missing at the very end. If anybody has a clue, please tell Mr. Wright's off.
Meanwhile, in the gym, the suffixes were doing push ups and pull ups. They were running and jumping, bouncing and balancing. Finally, they felt stronger. They felt braver too. They started back to the classroom. In the hall, they spotted the posters. Hey, the kids are looking for us. Reward for find suffix help us learn is your reward. We read this one already. Help us find suffix. Something doesn't seem right. There's some missing pieces. The word endings decided to hide and make up clues. This was their big chance to go first. Trying clean out your desk. Hurry, or suffocate. Suffocate. I'm not sure what that means. The note doesn't make any sense to me. But this one, maybe you guys can see and figure it out. I'm hid in the est messy desk. Yuck. Old ed chew gum. Dirt tissue. They seem kind of backwards and mixed up to me. Now all the word endings were hopeful endings. They hoped the kids would find them. They hoped they wouldn't be tackled after all. The kids found the clues in plain sight. At first they were impossible to read. But finally, aha! We figured it out. The endings come first in these mixed up words. If we move them to the end where they belong, we can read the clues. makes sense. So they add Y to the end of yuck to make yucky, ED to the end of chew to make chewed, Y to the end of dirt to make dirty, ER to the end of gross to make grosser. So now they can read the notes. They just have to move the suffixes to the end, like in full to the end of mouthful. That makes sense now. Thanks to these clues, the kids exclaimed, we don't have to search endlessly. They talked Mr. Wright into letting them clean out their desks. Thank goodness we found you. Thank goodness this day is nearly over. Mr. Wright smiled and opened Ace Scooper, Dog Detective, to the last chapter. When he started to read, the kids settled down and listened. Thank goodness the puppy is safe. He's free at last. And so are we. When Mr. Wright announced the end, everyone rejoiced. Finally, summer vacation stretched ahead, promising days of endless fun. So, this is a summary of what suffixes are. It says word endings or suffixes are letter groups that are added to the end of a base word or root. Rooting, R-O-O-T, root, plus I-N-G, ing, equals rooting. When I go to a baseball game, I like rooting for my favorite baseball team, the San Francisco Giants. I'm rooting for you to tackle suffixes. They say, will be helpful. So down here, if words look too hard, you can sometimes figure it out by looking at the ending first. Winding, endless, teacher. Sometimes words that look long and hard have 2 or 3 endings in a row. Endlessness has 2 suffixes, less and ness. Playfully, full and ly. Truthfully, full and ly. Surprisingly, ing and ly. And frighteningly has 3, n, ing, ly. So when you see those long words, they're not as scary because now you know that they're just suffixes at the end and you can sound them out. I really enjoyed reading this story to you, first graders. Until next time.